All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 49 of the Dunk Talk. My name is Dylan Haugen. I'm your host. Today I'm here with my co-host Hunter and a new guest, Andy. So Hunter, introduce yourself, then we'll get to our guest, guys.
Yeah, guys, I'm a 6'1" dunker from Wisconsin, and we have a special guest, Andy, well known in the community. He also has a podcast as well, so if you guys want to check that out, you guys can. But he's on our podcast today. So, Andy, if you want to introduce yourself, and we'll get started.
Yeah, so I'm Andy, 5'10". I've tested a 45-inch vert, and yeah, I used to post on TikTok a lot, and then I hurt my back, so I didn't post for a while. Now I post on pretty much everything. And the podcast he's talking about is actually not mine, so that's my buddy Nick's, and I just am a reoccurring guest. I used to come on it a lot, but he kind of just does his own thing now. He just had an interview with Dom, so that's pretty cool.
Nice, nice. Well, yeah, I met Andy in 2022 at Dunk Camp, then just recently saw him again for the first time since then in Vegas. And obviously that session is insane, so if you haven't seen that, make sure you go check it out. But today, guys, we're gonna be going through Andy's dunk journey because he's got a lot that has happened, so it's gonna be really cool to break it all down for you guys. But just starting off, just kind of tell us about, what sports you did as a kid and just your athletic background in general.
Yeah, so I've been playing sports pretty much my whole life. I see a lot of guys on here, and it's like all their stories are way different. Mine is like pretty conventional. I like been playing football since I was 6 years old, all the way to 18, and then when I was like 13, I found track and field, but I never really played basketball at all. I was just Olympic lifting, sprinting, and jumping all the time, but for other sports.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you were pretty good at football, so kind of tell us about your football experience as well.
Yeah, so I came from a really small town in Texas, but Texas is really big in football. From freshman year to senior year, we were in the state semifinals or the state finals pretty much all of those years. We never actually won, but yeah, I was always top 10 in the state for like receivers and like special teams like kick return yards and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. So you did track too? What events did you do?
Yeah, track. I mean, they would make me sprint because I wasn't a slow guy. Like I was pretty fast. I just hated doing sprints when my main focus was strictly triple jump. I found that out in seventh grade because I went to try 110 hurdles and I jumped over one hurdle, and before I could land on the ground to hit the other one, I just like landed and then ran into the second one. And they were like, "All right, go try long jump." And then I tried long jump, and for some reason I sucked. And then I tried triple jump, and I was just able to carry out height and distance in all my jumps. And I just ran with it from there.
Did you do that all throughout high school?
Yeah, same thing. Like I was always competing in the like area district. I went to semifinals once. I never went to state, which senior year would have been the year for me to do that. I was ranked fifth in Texas and like 15th or not 15th, well, like 25th in the nation for it. I had like a 47 or 48-foot jump like one time my junior year, and then I never did it again.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, but I low key wasn't taking it very serious. I was trying to get really swole my senior year, and so I lost a couple of I lost like a foot on my jump, and then by the time I got it back, I just wasn't hitting on the board the day of.
Yeah. Before we get into dunking, I know you mentioned lifting. So when did you actually start lifting and just kind of, how did you get into that?
Yeah, so we Texas, we are so big on football that we start lifting like 12 or 13 years old. So the school programmed us Olympic lifts that early, and then even before that, um, my dad, or he's my stepdad, but I call him my dad. He had a really strict father who was in the military, and then he was on a really strict schedule because he had been to prison before, and so like my punishments were never physical like punishments. I was always made to do like push-ups or pull-ups or flipping tires and stuff. So I was really relatively strong. And then when I was finally lifting weights 12, 13, I was lifting kind of big numbers already.
What were some of your numbers like in high school?
High school, power clean, my all-time max was when I was 19, but in high school I could do 265 for like we were doing a full clean, so like all the way like ass to grass catch. So it was a little bit easier to go heavy in weight. And then like squat, like no one really squats depth, so I couldn't tell you what my actual max was back then. But I was always putting like 4 plates and like doing like half squats. Um, and then bench, I always sucked, but I got 275 once. So I did a little bit of powerlifting, and my big three were always really good. So my deadlift, I did 570 sumo, and then I did 515 conventional. But then my bench, like I said, it was like 255 because I actually had to like follow the powerlifting rules. And then squat, I think I only did like 415, like actual real squat.
Yeah, it's still insane, bro. So I mean, obviously you got pretty crazy athletic background, did a lot of stuff, or at least were really active in general. So what kind of got you into dunking? Did you lower them as a kid? Did you play, basketball with your friends, or just, what kind of got you into it?
So I'm not gonna lie, dude. I hated basketball. Like I did not like watching it. I didn't like playing it, but I like playing 2K. Um, and then all I did was focus on football. But when I was in, ever since I was in sixth or seventh grade, I didn't watch like football highlights to get hyped for a game. I literally watched Dunkademic sessions to get hyped for a football game, or I would watch Dunkademic sessions in class when I wasn't supposed to. So like, I was already watching dunking, and I don't know why. It was just like the most hype thing. Like, this dude is just jumping as high as he can and dunking as hard as he can. And so I guess I was always watching it. And then like in high school, we uh, we would go like in our off seasons, and so from there, like all I would do is I would lift heavy and jump and try to dunk once a week. I never like practiced my sport to get better at my sport. I always just tried to dunk in the summers, and then I would go play sports during the school year. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I like didn't watch the NBA. I just literally watched Dunkademic. So I grew up watching like Isaiah Rivera, and my favorite growing up was T. I always like watching T flying.
Isn't he
So
in
what
Texas
got
as well?
you?
Yeah, he is in Texas. We're supposed to have a sesh sometime soon. We always talk about it, but it never happens. So we'll see.
What all of a sudden got you into watching Dunkademic's videos though? Because I know you said like you never cared about basketball or anything like that, but it's just like so weird that like Dunkademic's videos were like the thing that got you hype, but like you never liked basketball. So like, do you know why you started watching them, or is it just like random?
I think I just something like I don't know, like John. You ever watch a THP podcast
Yeah.
where they talk about how like every guy who's obsessed with dunking might be a little acoustic?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
genuinely think like before I ever watched anything, like I just like wanted dunk already. Like
Okay.
I already loved jumping, and then
You
like
want to
that was a way
dunk?
to like jump a lot was to dunk. So like I think I was probably scrolling through YouTube when I was a kid watching like Vince Carter or Michael Jordan dunk, and then like under recommended probably Dunkademics popped up somewhere in there, and then the rest was history. But I don't really know. I don't even remember the first time I watched it.
I wanted dunk. That's hilarious. So kind of, I mean, when did you like? What was kind of like your progression to like your first dunk? Like first time you touched rim, first time you got your first dunk, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so in my mind, my first dunk that I can actually genuinely remember was like when I was 16. I did like a 1 foot like right hand dunk, but like after like really getting involved with like the community and watching, like I don't know how high that rim was, so I really don't know when my actual first dunk was. But yeah, like I said, like in the summers I was always trying to dunk. I was basically lifting like a triple jumper and then hooping. And so 16 I got my first like dunk, and it was off 1 foot. But like I would say my first real actual, like I knew the rim was 10 feet. I was like 18, and I'd like caught it off a lob off 2 feet and like punched it.
Yeah, that's
And I
wild.
think after that, like I could only do two-handers. Like something in me, I like had a hard time holding the ball for a while. But I was just like power jumper, like off dribble, two hand. That was it. Like very football based, like jumper.
Yeah, a lot of people have that problem, like not being able to like push your opposite hand like into your dunking hand or whatever. It's funny.
Yeah. But once I found out how, like I just watched Chris Staples, the power dribble that Chris Staples does, and how he like swings it back into his jump, and so it, like basically like him swinging the ball up into his offhand basically gets him off the ground. I started doing that, and that helped with my one-handers.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, obviously, you're lifting, you're dunking and all this stuff. What was kind of like the change that like what made you want to like go all in for dunking?
Senior year really is what took the change because we had lost in the state semifinals my senior year, and I was doing track, and I wanted to go to state for track, and I was like super invested in that, but it got really cold that year, and I couldn't really jump outside much, and so I was like, well, how am I going to get my plyos in? And so I was like, oh, I'm going to do what I did every summer. I'm just going to dunk, and that's how I'm going to get my bounce up. So for like 2 or 3 months straight my senior year, I was just trying to dunk and like getting dunks in here and there. And I knew like if I graduate, I don't get any offers. Like I can't go play football anywhere. There's not like rec football. I can't go jump anywhere. There's not very many rec track and fields. I was like, but I can go to a gym anywhere and dunk a ball. I was like, all right, I'm just going to dunk like in my free time when I graduate. And so when I graduated is when I was like, yeah, let me just train, and all this training that I've been doing for football and triple jump, I'm just going to use it for dunking and see where it takes me.
So with that, is that when you started taking dunking seriously then? Or did it kind of take you a little bit after that to get into it? Or like kind of how was that process after high school?
I don't know. I feel like when I like was like I want to become a pro dunker, it was almost like I was already like trying unconsciously. Like I don't remember when I was like I want to do this seriously. I think when I went to dunk camp in 2022, that's when I was like, okay, I want to do this forever, or not forever, but like for my whole athletic career. But no, like when I graduated high school, I was like I would just drink. I would like not drink. I would drink a lot of caffeine, and I would like lift really heavy, and I would dunk once a week. And I was posting these like goofy ass little mixes on TikTok that nobody was watching, and it was like to my favorite songs at the time, which was like, you know what dark trap is, like Suicide Boys, and like
Nah, not really.
yeah, it's like these rappers that basically just are like it's like screamo rap, and I would like post these mixes to it, and then like I went to camp for like a week, and I had no service, and one of my videos of me missing a dunk went viral, and I was like, oh shit, and I just started posting from there, like a lot more, like more content than just like dunk mixes. I started posting like my workouts, and like I was triple jumping still just for fun, just to like keep my legs strong. So I would like post like my track content, my weightlifting content, and it was super like bro type content for a while. It was just like, how do you dunk after you deadlift 500 plus pounds? And like the next clip is me dunking. I was like, well, I just jump. It was like silly videos like that, and then that kind of changed when I moved to Austin when I turned 19.
Yeah, bro, I remember that. I remember that content. So during that time where you're, just starting to dunk and you're kind of still doing all these other things, how did you kind of, keep the balance of like training for dunking and also dunking at the same time in the weight room?
I think I just already having that knowledge of what lifts make. There's not any perfect lifts. I've learned that now. But I was basically doing like the most specific type of lifts that were for vertical jump. Like I was doing the box squats, and I was doing the trap bar jumps, and I was doing the bounds, because that's just what I've had always been doing. So like my training, I didn't want to change the way I trained. So I was just training the same way I did in high school. And then like keeping that balance, like I was younger, so it's not like I had that many responsibilities. Like I was a substitute teacher, so I worked 3 days a week, and I went to school 2 days a week, and that school had a gym. So it's like the only days I really had to figure out what time, when, and where I was going to work out or train was like a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday. And it's like school lets out at 5, so I can go to the gym anytime. So it never really got in the way of anything. I will say I wasn't nearly as busy as I am now, and I feel like I've lacked a little bit of purpose back then. So I really like didn't care. I was just like, I'm gonna train, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna go to school, and I'm just gonna do my own thing.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you think your training has changed, now compared to then with what you know now?
Well, it had to change because I was jumping really high, and I was starting to get a lot of traction on TikTok, and I was like, I need to make a change. I feel stuck in this little ass town, so I'm gonna move. And I moved to Austin because I wanted to go to school and I wanted to live in the city, but I didn't want to leave Texas. And when I moved, I didn't have a gym for a month, so I had to do body weight stuff, and I was jumping like 2 or 3 times a week. And when I finally got a weight room because I got a job at a gym, I just tried to lift the same exact way I was, like deadlift 495, bench 225, power clean, all this. And then like that first week of me lifting like that again, I literally bulged 2 discs in my back that week.
Yeah, bro.
And
That's
from
crazy.
there, I just had to learn about like recovery. I had to learn about periodization training. Like you can't do the same thing every single day and not expect diminishing returns. You can't like and then like I also learned like just because you're getting stronger doesn't necessarily mean you're jumping higher. And yeah, it just like taught me a whole bunch because I was very like, bro, like just squat heavy, deadlift heavy, jump once a week, you're golden. And then you get hurt and you're like, oh, that only works for people who are like built a little different, and I'm not built different anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So what time period was this? Like, how old were you?
I was 19, so this was like 2022, and it's like right when I was finally hitting an East Bays. I was finally like windmilling really consistently. I was like adding little dunks. I could probably get my elbow in the rim. Had really good height checks. I think like my TikTok has not grown that much since then. I think I hit like 30K then, and I only have like 36K now, and that's 3 years ago.
Pretty sure my TikTok has declined since then, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, bro. So what kind of made you go to dunk camp that first time? What kind of like encouraged you to go there?
I think when you're doing something this niche, it's kind of weird telling like your friends and family about it because they don't get it. They're like, "Oh, like, what do you like to do in your free time?" I was like, "I like to dunk." And they're like, "Oh, you like to play basketball? That's cool." I was like, "No, I like to dunk basketball." I was like, "I don't like to play basketball." I was like, "I'm not a hooper. I'm not trying to go to college to play basketball. I'm trying to like compete in dunk contest." And they're like, "What's a dunk contest? Like the NBA dunk contest?" I'm like, "Kind of." So like I brought my mom and my little brother to dunk camp. Like I didn't stay in the hotels. I like bought an Airbnb and stuff. And I just wanted to show like my mom like that my dream was like a real thing and not like some like idealistic thing in my head. And I also wanted to show her that like, like not that I wasn't too far off that like but like it wasn't like my dream wasn't unreachable. And so like that was pretty cool to like show her like now she like follows Jordan Kilgannon and Isaiah Rivera, and I think her favorite dunker to watch is low key Jay Clark just because he's older. Like he's like, oh, this 35-year-old guy is like still doing it, and he's a teacher and he has a wife and kids. So my mom low key likes dunking,
That's sick,
and
bro.
yeah.
How
I
was
just
that?
wanted
How
to
was that?
validate my dream pretty much.
Exactly, yeah. How was that week for you? Because I remember you did pretty good that week.
It was good. I mean, a couple of guys had already known me. You were really young at the time, so like I had seen you on TikTok, but I think you were like 13 that year. Or
14,
no, you
yeah.
were 14, yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like 18 or 19. I was 18. So like there was a big age gap. So I really didn't know you that well, but you were like already hitting two-handers. I think you might have hit a windmill and then you did the was it the 8.5 foot contest?
I think I had a windmill the year after, but I did the 8 foot, yeah.
Yeah, you and Luke were going crazy. And then like I already knew Dom and I knew Archie. And those I feel like that was a good session. Like I was a little in the sesh a little bit. All I ever bring to the table in a dunk sesh is just height and power. I don't really bring technicality. I don't really bring like finesse I don't really think I have that much style. It's just like I jump high and I try to
Nah, bro,
punch the
you
shit out of the
definitely have
rim.
style.
And so, yeah, well, thank you. That's all I tried to do when I was out there. Like, I still like had not very many dunks in my bag. Like, I had a one hander, a two hander, a windmill, and I had East Bay like maybe once or twice on like a LA Fitness rim. But like there, I definitely learned a lot. Like my first day, Billy showed me how to do a reverse pump, and then I hit a double up for the first time, and then I competed in the 10 foot, and I low key did bad. Like I made my first dunk on like the third try, and it was like a two-hander off bounce, and then I missed my second dunk, which was like a cuff mill, but everyone else did too. And then I was trying to get to the final with my final dunk, which was in East Bay, and I couldn't even hit an East Bay back then. Since then, I can. It's not the most consistent thing, but like I can still get one down every now and then.
Was that your first time competing?
Was it? Yeah, I mean, I had done like a dunk horse with a couple of guys in Texas. But yeah, my first time
Yeah.
competing was there when I was 18, and then when I moved to Austin right when I got back home, and I competed in like 4 dunk contests that year in Houston.
Yeah, I was remembering that you had done quite a few, so you want to walk us through a few of those, how they went?
Yeah, so for me, this is when I knew I really wanted to be a dunker, was when I finally got to compete. It just brings a different side of energy and like focus to you. Either you like love it or you hate it. Like it sucks when like the nerves really get to you, but it is really nice when like there's a crowd and adrenaline. Like the first contest I ever did, I was prepping for it and I knew the guy I was going against, Demorier, because we're really good friends. And I don't know if you have ever seen his stuff. Like he's a very bouncy guy and he does
Oh
not
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
train
yeah,
very
I've
crazy.
much.
seen him.
Is he the one that hit under both like in a game? I
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't
he's
remember.
hit under both in
Yeah,
the
bro.
game.
It's
He's hit
ridiculous.
360 East Bays, 360 windmill. He
Yeah, he's
only does
crazy.
like the same dunks, and he doesn't practice very much. He's not the most consistent guy when it comes to training. It's just like on the day of when you gotta lock in, that dude locks in. And so I was like, what can I do to like keep myself in the contest? Because there's 2 other guys. I was like, I can make sure I beat them, and then I got to make sure I make my dunk, so I at least stand a chance against him. And so I knew he was going to do a windmill in East Bay, a windmill off the backboard, and then he was going to try under both. Those were his dunks. So I was like, okay, I'm going to open with a windmill just to do the same dunk as him. And then when he does an East Bay, like not a lot of people know about dunking. So I was like, I'm going to do a double up. No one's going to know. They're going to probably score at the exact same because I'm 5'10 jumping over a 6'4 guy and reversing it. The thing is, I had never done that before. So in prep, I did it 2 days before the contest just to see if I actually could. And then I locked in the day of the contest. And that's the first time I hit a double up reverse. And a contest was only my second time actually hitting a double up reverse ever. And ever since then, I don't miss that dunk. It's not a hard dunk. Double ups aren't hard, but they're really fun. And that became like my signature for a while. When I hurt my back, that was like the only dunk that I could consistently do no matter what. And I was still doing shows and like doing contests with a messed up back. And yeah, that dunk, I got to the final and we was only 3 dunks. So I was trying to hit an East Bay just to keep it in. And like the only way I could do it East Bay was if I like went off dribble or if I've done it only once, but like I cuff the ball sometimes and I just jump up and I like put it between my legs and then dunk it. Similar to Kilgannon or not Kilgannon, Jonathan Clark's like Ziani Tamala. That's the only way I could do it for a long time. And so I tried to do that variation and I missed. And then we ended up tying because he missed his dunk, but he tried a under both 2-hand reverse finish. And he like barely missed. But like me and him always either tied or he beat me. And so like I've been in 5 contests and I've always gotten second because I haven't beat him.
Shoot, bro. Hopefully
That's
that'll
crazy.
change
Yeah, it would
because
change now, and I've told him that. Me and him are very competitive. I'm like, no, if we dunked right now, I would shit on you. And that's one thing.
bro,
Like,
I was talking about this Saturday. You better win this Saturday.
we'll see. Because low key,
Yeah, it's gonna be a good contest.
not to make excuses. I got the fucking flu 4 days ago,
Oh, really?
and I had 3 sessions in 1 week, and all those sessions were really bad. Like the one I just posted, I only jumped 20 times, but those were like my contest dunks, and I missed. I always like front run or back run to like the ones I was supposed to make. So
Yeah.
I'm jumping today, like tonight. I'm just gonna hoop a little bit and then just do like a mock dunk sesh. So 5 dunks, and then I'm gonna like go 1 to 2 tries, and those are only gonna be my jumps for the day. But we'll see. I mean, I will say I don't get too nervous because I've been in those situations before, and I've learned the difference between someone who's a really. I don't think I have this thing where it's like there's session dunkers and then there's like contest dunkers, and I've dunked with both. And I'm definitely more of a session dunker, just mainly because I'm not consistent. But I've dunked with guys like Miller, who is like a contest dunker, and like you see his dunks in his videos, and he only jumps 20 times. Like he only jumps 20 times and he hits those dunks. You know what I mean? It's not like me where if I want to hit an East Bay, I got to give it 4 or 5 tries to finally hit it once, and then I won't try to hit it again. Like it's very different, and that's what I'm hoping will be on my side when I get to the contest is the dunks that I'm doing, I don't really miss. And even in the final, like my final dunk isn't going to be one that like is my hardest dunk to hit. So I hope they bring that. I hope they definitely tried to do something hard, but I hope that they're able to hit their dunks because that's the worst thing about like us amateurs is we're not always the most consistent.
Yeah, for sure. What has it been like for you with Smoove and Miller kind of moving to Texas and kind of tell us like the story behind meeting them because obviously that's super cool. I did not expect that, so it's super cool.
Yeah, so I got lucky. I was coming back. I was just slowly getting back into my dunking. Um, I was like in this weird funk where I was like, I don't know if I want to keep dunking. I want to keep dunking. So I was like barely training somewhat, and I was like dunking every now and then. And right when I decided I really wanted to come back, Miller moved or the Smoove moved to Austin. And the reason I found out is because my boy Nick worked at this gym. He was like, "Hey man, we should dunk more. I think there's a pro dunker at this gym, but I don't know though." I was like, "What do you mean you don't know? Like what's he look like?" He's like, "Oh, he's like 6'1". He's like Eastern European, and he does like this dunk where he bounces it off the ground and he catches it between his legs and dunks it." I'm like, wait, so some guy's just winning at the gym and you're not trying to like dunk with him? Like, send me his Instagram. He sends me Smooth Ukraine. And I'm like, bro, you've been going to the gym with this guy for like 3 or 4 months and like you want to get into dunking and you're not hitting up a pro dunker? I was like,
Yeah, that's
bro, it's
crazy.
probably like,
That's insane.
yeah. And I'm sitting there with Nick and I was like, I'm DMing him. And so I DM'd him and I dunked with him that week. And it was a really good session. And then I didn't dunk with him for like another 2 or 3 months. And then me, him, and Miller dunked for like 6 weeks in a row. Uh, and I just learned a lot. It wasn't more like I learned a lot. It's like I dunked better because I wanted to impress them. And then I dunked better because they weren't making mistakes and they were like giving me little tips and tricks. But their 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 tips are super simple. It's like, why don't you take a half step in and focus more on the transfer rather than the jump? You're already jumping high enough. I was like, but I want the punch to look good. He's like, your punch isn't going to look good if you miss. I was like, all right, I'll try to make it. And just things like that. Like they're very contest guys. It's like, who cares what it like if you make that dunk before someone else makes that dunk, like sometimes it doesn't matter how good it looks. Like if it's the third try dunk and they finally get it, like as long as you hit it first try, you might be better than them in the scoring. So those guys are really cool, and they're just like they're like very opposite. Like Smooth is very like I feel like he's very like about business. He's like he shows up, he gets his stuff done, he leaves. When me and Miller dunk, it's like two dudes who are like he's really goofy. He just like loves to jump. He just jumps all day. And so it's like two guys who are really opposite, but they're like homies.
Yeah, did
Yeah,
you feel
that's
like you
cool.
got like more consistent by dunking with those guys just by learning those different tips and stuff like that? And did you like do you think you've also gained more in your bag as well, like different dunks that you're able to do now?
I think they definitely played a part in it just by being there, but they didn't necessarily help me with anything. It's almost like a it reminds me of like a track meet. Like say your baseline, you're always jumping 41 feet in triple jump, and you finally get to jump with these guys who are jumping 44, 45 feet. It's not that you want to beat them. It's like you don't want to be you want to be like where they're at. So you like just you kind of just jump better. Like or you just it's like a competitive thing. Like just years and years of competition makes me like compete harder when I'm with those guys. Like I always jump better when I'm with better jumpers. I would say like
No, yeah, I
my
was just gonna
session
say that,
before
bro.
I went to yeah, like the session I had before Vegas, it was dog shit. And then I woke up for the Vegas sesh and I felt like dog shit, but I was like, it's fine. Like I always feel like dog shit when I'm nervous, like whatever. It's like an anxious thing that happened when I hurt my back. It's like I'll just walk, I'll just eat, I'll just warm up. The minute that I see someone jumping high, it's not that I want to jump better than them. I just want to like compete somewhat. Like
Yeah, it's
we're not
contagious,
gonna
bro.
like, yeah, it's like we're not gonna like say it, and it's not like a real like competition. But like when we have a group session, we're all comparing each other because if the goal is to be a pro, like one day we're gonna want to like be the best. We're gonna want to compete, and so like I always like kind of compare, and I try to like not one up, but I always try to like stamp my name in a session.
No, yeah, for sure. I think there's like I've had so many instances of that where it's like, not all group sessions are the same. Like I have a ton of fun no matter what, no matter who I'm dunking with, like no matter what the group session is. But like my best sessions in Minnesota are when I dunk with guys like Gideon, Will, Jalen, like these guys that are like similar level to me, or maybe like slightly better than me, because it just pushes you. Like you see them do things, and it like gives you ideas on like what dunks to do, and you just overall jump better when you see people doing better than you. Like if you kind of stay in those like really comfortable environments, you just generally don't do the same. So I would totally agree with that.
Yeah,
But
it's like we have the Texas flight crew, and those dunk sessions are fun. We're just like jumping, and we're like getting our dunks in. We're having fun. We're listening to music. There's not much competition. We're just having a good time trying to get on what we can. But then when I show up with Miller and Smooth, it's like it's more like one competitive, but like two, it's like they're there for content. They're not just there for dunking. Like they make a living off of this. Like they have to make sure they're hitting their dunks. They have to make sure that they're like making entertaining videos. And it's like they're inviting me because they think I can add something to that. And if I'm not, then it's like we're not dunking together. And it's not because they don't want to dunk with me. It's just like they're gonna dunk with me, but they're not gonna put me in one of those videos. You know what I mean? And it has nothing to do with like them liking me or them thinking that they're better than me. It's just that like when you make a living off of content and off of dunking, you're gonna have to like the way I would put it is like I it's like dunk camp. Like we go to the dunk camp sesh and we have like all the campers dunking and then the pro dunkers dunking. But then when that video of Dunkademics posts, you only see the pro dunkers in that session or the dunks that like showed up that were really good. It's not that it's not to like
yeah, exactly. It's not a
to
personal thing.
demoralize.
It's
Yeah.
just like you to to put it simply, like to get the most views and to do the best. Like Billy films a lot of dunks, but he can't put all of them in there, right? Like the Wisconsin session, I got to dunk with the pros, which is super cool. I think me and Hunter, what do we have, like two or three dunks in the Dunkdynamics video?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like and I'm not like mad about that. Like I really don't care at all because it's like I got three dunks, and then when you look at all the other dunks, it's like I'm still out of place, even though I hit like behind the back, East Bay, like I am out of place 100%. So like you can't really blame someone for like not including you in something like that. It's just like again, it's social media is a game, and obviously we all want to support each other as much as possible. But yeah, in some situations like that, like you just gotta put yourself in situations where you're with the best, and it really makes you better in all ways. So
Mm.
yeah,
That helped me like I getting on Dunk Elite for once or twice and then like being on Miller's page, being on Smooth's page, having YouTube videos with them like that like really helped like everything like it was kind of nice being gone for a long time and then when I came back like the content and like the quality of the content was really good. Like I was mic'd up, I was with pros, I did a whole back recovery thing. Like it really like helped like those guys like and like we're cool. Like they're out of town a lot. So it's not like we dunk really that much. So when they're back in town, we try to get a dunk session in. We may not, we may. But either way, yeah, they made me like really push myself because I finally got to a point where I could jump, and then I like wanted to stay comfortable in that, and that's like that's not what pros do. They try to be the best, and that's what they push me for.
all right. So obviously we've covered a lot. I want to get into some injuries now because obviously you mentioned that a little bit, didn't go too in depth. So obviously, just kind of walk us through your injury history and kind of like how you've progressed through those things.
Yeah, so growing up, I didn't have any injuries at all. I didn't get any real sports specific injuries. Like I broke my rib once when I was like I jumped in the air and fell and my fist like broke it. But that was like a freak accident. It had nothing to do with sports. But when I was 19, I moved to Austin. Like I said, I had that month of body weight workouts, and then I finally tried to hit it hard. And it was weird. So it's not like I like tried to hit it hard. I bent over and like my back rolled, and I like felt a pop. It's like I felt fine, and I just had a really intense week. And I was playing basketball with my brothers because they were in town for my birthday, and I just bent down really fast, and all I felt was a, and it's like my discs and then my QLs on my right side, just like everything just felt like immense, like fire and pain out of nowhere. And it was really just bad that day. And then I just never like gave it a chance to like rest. Like I never stopped training. I like refused to quit jumping. And yeah, it just sent me down a 2-year rabbit hole to where I'm like finally back. And now that I am back, I still have like repercussions that are irreparable. Like I'm always gonna have chronic pain. I'm always gonna have like a little bit of nerve damage in my back. But it's like it's only gonna like jumping is the only thing that really hurts me. So the minute that I'm done jumping, like my day to day life after this will be very very easy. Like it doesn't hurt to sit, it doesn't hurt to stand. If I sit too long, yeah, I'll get stiff. But like a pelvic tilt when I jump is really what gets me, or like a bad form when I lift weights.
Do you think there was anything you could have done to prevent it, or was it just like completely random?
Mm, so the thing about like spinal injuries and tendon injuries in general, it's you don't really know until it happens. It's like it's just accumulated load. It's not like one thing did it. It's like accumulation. So probably me deadlifting that heavy ass weight years before, like I was deadlifting 500 plus pounds with terrible form, never hurt my back, but like definitely could have been like a sign or like the start. And then I was jumping all the time, and then I went through a phase where I wasn't really doing any lifting, and then I tried to do it all over again. It's like a year span of like load on my body, and so I think it was just a matter of time. It was sooner than I wanted to happen, but I think it was gonna happen. Um, I try not to like think hypothetically about it, because then it's like then you're like that guy who like still thinks about his high school football days, and he's like, man, if we would have just thrown the screen instead of ran the ball, like we would have been state champions. It's like, all right, gang, it's 19 that was
Yeah,
1986, 2025.
no, I feel
So
that.
I
But
think it's just something that would have happened.
yeah, how is it kind of, how have you had to like work around it in your training recently? Like, can you still do
Mm,
deadlifts? I know I've seen you power cleaning recently, but like, what has changed?
yeah, so now, yeah, I can deadlift, I could power clean, I can bend over, I can do all that. Um, it's more like the morning I'm a little stiff, and by the end of the day, my back's a little tired. But in the beginning, it's like I couldn't walk without pain. I couldn't like bend over, even hinge like 45 degrees without pain. And that's just because I wouldn't like let my body heal. I would still go squat even though my back hurt. I would still go deadlift even though my back hurt. So it had nothing to do with like the injury itself. It's just like me being stubborn and not like I never think it's about working around an injury. It's just like accepting that you're not the same anymore. You gotta like train different.
Are you able to like back squat and stuff now or no?
Yeah, I can. I don't always do it though. I mean, I sometimes I'd rather just front load, or I do a belt squat. But yeah, I can back squat. I back squatted 3 days ago, and since then, like I've back squatted 335 for like 4 or 5. So I mean, I can do it. It's just a matter of like, can I do it like consistently for a long period of time? Probably not. But that's the cool thing about like personalized periodized training is like you're not going to be doing the same thing for like more than probably 8 weeks. Like you might be in an 8 week cycle, but after the 8 weeks, you're switching it up. So it's not like I'm going to be back squatting every single day, twice a week, as heavy as I can. So
Yeah. I know that your back injuries are a little bit different than probably the normal person's back injuries, but I'm sure you've learned quite a bit about just backs in general. So what would you kind of give to someone as advice if they're going through back pain right now and they're a dunker?
let's see. Take a breath. Stop jumping for a little bit. Walk 3 or 4 times a day. Do the McGill 3 or 4 times a day. And don't track your day to day pain, because your day to day pain fluctuates and it's inconsistent, because you might one night feel great because you slept on your back, you did all your walks, you did your McGill, and then the next day you might not do that and you might sleep on your side, and then you wake up and your back feels like shit. It's like is way different than like a knee or a tendon where you're like tracking your pain. It's like you almost got to go like week to week. Like overall this week, how did my back feel? The next week, overall this week, how did that feel? And then not forcing it you're gonna realize when you have back pain, most of the time it becomes chronic, and so your base level might not be 0 out of 10. Like my base, most of the time, like throughout the day, I'm gonna have a 1 or 2 out of 10 pain. Like it's not like it hurts. It's just like I can tell that I hurt myself. Like there's like a little like maybe like a little pinch or maybe like a little like instability, but nothing that like hurts, nothing that like scares me. It's just like when you have like a little tweak in your shoulder, like you're always gonna have that little tweak because it has nothing to do with your muscles. It's your spine. It's you bulged it. Um, the only way it can go is either bad or maybe a little bit regressed from what it is now. You can't really change it, so you gotta just like accept that you hurt yourself and you got to do things different. It's more about just acceptance. It's kind of like when you get dumped, you just like accept that they don't want to be with you no more, and just you're chilling.
Yeah, bro. So obviously you've got a pretty big contest coming up this weekend that we kind of talked about in the reaction video, but haven't talked about it on here yet. So just kind of explain to us, how that opportunity came up, what's going to happen, who's going to be there, and just, how you think it's going to go.
Yeah, so of course it's hosted by Dunk Camp, so I was following them. I had finally gotten to a point where I was jumping consistently, relatively pain free. Day to day life is relatively pain free. My strength numbers are good. I'm probably the healthiest I'm gonna be or ever have been. Like my healthy is way different than my healthy back then, but I'm the most healthy I am. And I saw their post and they're like, "Hey, you send videos in. We're gonna pick. Is it 4 or 5 guys? It's 4 guys, right? No, it's 5. So we were gonna pick 5 guys to do a contest." And I just sent in. I had just been to Vegas, and I was like, you know what? That was really fun. Let me see. And I've dunked with 2 of those guys that are in the contest. I was like, I might as well just go against them. So I like sent him my videos from the Vegas sesh, and yeah, I commented in the comment section of the post. I was like, I will fly out from Texas just to try and win this. Like just so I would like stamp, like, come on, bro, put me in. Like I'm gonna offer to fly out all the way from here just to do it. Like, give me a chance. And so it worked. He put me in. I'm actually staying with Hiram, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's gonna be me, Hiram Fexer, and Brennan, Mason, and actually I feel bad because I don't really know the other guy, but I know he's got a really good 1 foot bag. I know he's really good at like actual basketball too.
Yeah, I've seen him. He's good. Uh,
What were you about to say?
Nothing. I was just gonna say, obviously, there's the vert contest as well. What are your predictions for that?
Not gonna lie, if Brennan's thing was like official and all that energy is gonna be there, I think he might do really well. Hiram though, it's like I know for a fact he's always jumping high consistently. Even if he's not jumping his highest, it's gonna be like a 45-inch like minimum because he's 5'9", So I would think
Talking
maybe
about
him.
Fexture?
Yeah, Fexer.
Yeah, I think, bro, he could low key get 50. I mean, he could
Yeah,
48.5 at camp. I don't even think he felt like that good. So that
yeah,
would be
I could
crazy
see
to see.
him winning that. I don't know too much about the other guys besides Brennan, and Brennan jumps high for sure. I just like
Yeah.
when you don't see someone jump in person, you almost like want to wait before you make a prediction on someone you don't know.
No, yeah. If they haven't like measured officially, like there's that one guy, something like I don't even remember his name, but isn't it like Isaiah or something, Hunter? Or it's like Zay or something like
I
that. I
don't
don't even
even
know.
know. Yeah, I can't
Oh
remember.
yeah, it's like Isaiah Espinosa or something like that. Like he jumps crazy high. I don't know if you've seen his stuff, Andy, but it's like, he says he's tested 50 a couple times, but
Really?
it's hard to tell with standing reaches. That's the part that like concerns me the most. Like obviously if you put a vertec all the way up, um it's gonna be leaning a bit and stuff like that. So you got to measure that as well. But I don't know. I
And
just
height
hope that
checks
they
too. Like some guys' height checks are actually insane. Like
yeah, you can never, especially with the angles and stuff, you can never tell like what it really is. So I just hope if they measure reaches that day, which they should, then it could go anyway, bro. Like,
Yeah, I think they're going
depends on
to
so much
just that
things.
would be the most official way to do it. It's like everyone gets measured that day by the
Nah,
same
yeah,
people.
they have to, bro.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's gonna be weird.
But if I had to put my money on someone in that, I would probably put it on Hiram. But if
Yeah,
Brennan
I said
is
Brendan
jumping
Hiram.
that way, I could see Brennan winning too. As far as the dunk contest, I don't want to like take shots at anyone or anything like that. I mean, I know Mason, no matter what, is gonna dunk good, whether he's jumping good or bad. He's got height and he's got a good vertical. Um, Hiram also, like whether he's jumping good or bad that day, he's still gonna be able to hit some good dunks. I will say the way that they laid out the contest, have y'all seen it?
No, haven't.
Mm-mm.
So we start off with 3 basic dunks each. Like we're all doing the same dunk, and we all get 1 attempt for that dunk.
Is it kind of like they did in 2022
Uh,
or something like that?
Maybe I don't know how they did it back then, but it's similar
Are
to
they
like
doing? Is it
Mason versus
WDA?
Jonathan.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's
WDA?
WDA.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool. That's
so it's
gonna be
like
cool.
yeah, we're all gonna do a one-hander, we're all gonna do a windmill, and we're all gonna do a reverse pump, and we all get 1 try for those 3 dunks. And then we get into our dunks, and that's 2 dunks, 2 attempts, and then we get into the final, which is 2 or 3 people, and that's 3 dunks, 3 attempts, or 2 dunks, 3 attempts.
That is cool. I did not know that. That's gonna
No,
be
that's
that better be on YouTube, bro. I hope you can like film something. We'll see. But
Yeah, they told us that we can if it's not in the way of the cameras, but they're gonna have it all like super good. I think Billy might be going. I'm not sure.
that'd be cool, yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be pretty legit. I think that's gonna change it though, because like a lot of guys can hit some pretty cool dunks, but not a lot of guys can do it first try. Even those basic ones, like it's pretty hard to hit a reverse pump like first try, even if you're warm sometimes. Like you just miss every now and then. Like you only get 1 try, so it's very like lock in, fam.
yeah.
And that would make me nervous, but like a one hand, a windmill, and a reverse pump are like dunks that I always do first try. I didn't do them first try the other day though, and that it got in my head. But like I'm just like I know how I am. A one hander, okay, like I can bring a lot of height and power to a one hander. A reverse pump, like might not bring the best power, but the only way I can hit it is if I put as much height into it as I can, because I really like the full extension. And then windmill is just a windmill. That's like
Yeah, they're all
the
dunks
only
that you
dunk I
can do.
post. Yeah.
They're dunks that you've done. Those are all dunks you've done many, many times. You just don't overthink it. That's the biggest thing. I mean,
It's
again,
dunks I do
you
every
can hit
set.
those. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, yeah, there's a pressure of how only being able to do it once. But again, it's like I've hit this however many times. It's just another day at the office. Like it's nothing crazy. So if you just think of
Exactly.
it that way, I mean, I don't think. I mean, obviously, there's still gonna be nerves regardless, just because it's competition based. But still, like if you just think about it in that way, I think you'll be good.
Yeah, and the way I see it with that is that's gonna affect a lot of guys. Like Mason can hit some really nasty dunks, but he doesn't always do it between 1 and 3 tries. Never dunked with Brennan. I never dunked with the other guy, but I know Hiram. He's not always the most consistent either. So I'm kind of thinking like that first round, Loki could get some guys already, and I just hope I'm not one of the
I
guys he
feel
gets.
like I feel like I would definitely sell, bro.
Yeah.
So that's weird. Yeah, it's
I'm one of those
exciting, bro.
guys. Like if I'm jumping high, like those dunks to me are like all I do are the basic dunks with power. You know what I mean? I don't really do much. But then like the rest of the rounds, that's like if we make it to the next rounds, I don't really know how that would go. Because my final dunk probably wouldn't be as good as like Mason's final dunk, but it's a matter of who hits it, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
But
Contests
I would
can
like
go
to bet on
anyway.
if
Yeah,
I
bro.
could bet. I'm a competitor, so I think like out of the shorter guys, I don't know how good Brendan is at dunking. I know he's really good. Like I just don't know how like you only see YouTube videos, so you don't really know how consistent people are until you dunk with them in person. Um, and then I know I dunked with Hiram, and I know that was neither of our best day. So like he could have a really good day, and then we might all be fucked, you know. But
Yeah.
no, I like to bet on me just because I've done it before, and I like certain things just don't really get to my head like that.
Yeah, bro. You have to let us know what the facility's like, because I think that's where camp is this year. So it'll be cool to see. But
Hers is really nice. I don't know how
yeah, it
high the
looks
room
nice.
is. I think they're going Saturday. Some of the guys that are in Utah already to like check it out.
Oh,
It'd be
nice.
nice if it was a low rim. That'd be really cool. Like 10-foot
Yeah, bro.
contest on a 9.5 rim is like all right.
Yeah, exactly.
That might be Mason's day. because like you can already do stuff on 10. You give him like a lower rim. Oh God.
Yeah, bro, for sure. Well, just to kind of wrap it up here, what are some of your goals for, this year and then long term for dunking, lifting, social media? I know you're training people now, so just anything, yeah.
Yeah. So my goals with dunking is of course to be able to. I want to not miss a sesh this whole year. So I want to be able to consistently dunk at least once a week for the whole year without getting hurt. Just because I know me, I haven't been able to do that. And if I do that this year, I'm only going to be jumping higher than I am now. And I like to think I jump pretty high. And then dunks, I just want to get really consistent with the between the legs and the behind the back. Um, I mean, I hit them at least once a sesh, not the behind the back. I hit the between the legs at least once or twice a sesh, but I want to make that automatic, and then I want the behind the back to be a lot more consistent. And then yeah, like long term wise, I want to be able to do this for a living. Maybe not in the same way as like this traditional, maybe more in the sense of like Isaiah, like if he wasn't dunking, he'd still have coaching, and so I like to coach guys, make sure they're not doing anything, making mistakes with their back that I made, keeping them healthy, making them jump higher, and making that like a full time job. So like right now, I only work twice a week at a gym because I do coach clients, and hopefully with enough clients, like that can be my full time gig, and then I become a really good coach, probably train myself even better, and then become a pro dunker. That would fund my dunking. I could go to flights to compete, help other guys fly and compete if they're under our stuff. But yeah, I just want to make dunking I want to become a full time athlete. That would be my long term goal by the end of this year, is a full time athlete in some aspect.
Love it, bro. Where can people find you and your coaching and everything?
And just go to www.thebounceacademy.com. You can set up a consult with us. We'll talk to you over we have Zoom, and we also have one app for everything. So like you go to our app, we have groups, we have messages, we have progress pics, we have your training. You don't have to go all the way around. Like we just have it all in one app, and we can host other coaches. So like if you're a coach and you want to do your own private coaching, we can host your group where you have your own logo and you have your own coaching and you have your own transactions outside of us. So we host like two other forms of we host two other companies in our app, and that's helps us out too.
Nice, bro. Where can people find you on social media?
Andy.Behle on Instagram and TikTok. I don't really post on TikTok anymore because I don't know how that stuff's working out. And then YouTube is Andy.Behle.Bounce. And yeah, you'll see all my YouTube videos. I'm trying to grow that way more than my Instagram because I like YouTube a little bit more right now.
Good, bro. Long form is the best. Keep doing that. But yeah, thanks for hopping on. Obviously, got through a lot of stuff. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe or leave a 5-star review on whatever you're watching on. It would mean a lot and it helps us grow the podcast. So again, Andy, thank you for hopping on, and we'll
Yes,
see all you
sir.
guys in the next one. Peace out.